Hi, I'm Tyson.
I'm Colin.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Adam.
And we're the Gamesmiths, and we're here to learn how to play Path's Temple of Ukro'Kaah. To teach us how to start the game or play the game is Ryan. He's going to get us kicked off.
Gotcha. All right, welcome to Temple of Ukro'Kaah. Many have crossed the temple's threshold in hopes of learning its secrets and attaining fame and fortune, but few have succeeded. In Path's Temple of Ukro'Kaah, you and up to 5 others will play as one of several different hero classes as you work your way through the temple, encountering its many inhabitants who are not keen on you trespassing in their sacred grounds. Each player will choose a class and work towards unlocking the hero's true potential by carefully crafting your deck for both for each scenario and for the entire campaign. You'll have the ability to customize your hero however you like. Hero customization can be done by equipping hero with different gear and weapons, as well as learning multiple classes such as warrior, priest, necromancer, and more. How you customize your hero will ultimately determine how successful you are as you traverse the dark and hidden corridors of Ukro'Kaah. Will you make it out alive? Question mark. Components list. Not super interesting. You see it in front of you.
But helpful.
Oh yeah, helpful. Just not going to read it verbatim. All right, to begin, we've kind of already done this, so everyone has their board and their starting stuff. We each have, so this is a deck builder. We all know what a deck builder is, so these are our starting decks. We all have the same basic cards. We each have 2 focus cards. We each have 2 heal cards. We each have 2 punch cards. We each have 2 evade cards, and then we each have 2 class cards. I have Angel of Death and Slash.
I have Light Heal and Seal of Protection.
I have Necrosis and Summon Skeletons.
I have Summon Guamzai, Guzame, and Hunting Trap.
There you go. Shuffle all the remaining class together. Shuffle all the remaining class cards from the chosen classes together with the equipment and general cards to form the hero deck. That's this big guy here. So it has 9 class cards for each of us and then a bunch of rando equipment in there. Each player may then choose, like it said before, the thought is you actually kind of keep your deck and build it over multiple sessions. And so, like leveling up in a role-playing game or something like that. The first scenario you play is your basic deck, and then, depending on what happens in the first game, you can add cards to your basic deck for the second game. And if you've managed to multi-class your character after enough games, you can start with, more than just you can start with 2 different class skills in your basic thing. We're not doing that because we're just playing through the first playthrough with, regular characters. So
that sounds awesome, though.
Yeah. So once players have decided their hero, we place the 2 tiles with no walls and just the little symbols in the middle. So we got that here. Shuffle the event and enemy action deck. And that's these guys. Here we have the events, and here we have the enemy actions. And then we have the enemy tokens over here. Our damage tracker is over there. Each player will shuffle their 10 starting cards together, and you start with a hand of 5. You begin the first scenario with 5 path points. So on your board here, so let's actually go over the boards real quick. On your board, you have your character's name, class, and weight. Weight has to do with basically there's a limit to the number. So all of us weigh
heavy.
1. We all weigh the same.
Tyson's heavy.
I weigh
Tyson
2.
weighs 2. Oh,
And so does
you guys both weigh 2.
All
Okay.
fatties.
So there's a limit to the number of. Let me get this up so I have it. Bring that up here real quick. There's a limit to the number. Actually, hold on. We'll get this. Okay, yeah, no, that we all got. And then the oldest player, which is me, takes our starting token, and which is going to be our timer / cell phone / that.
Duck.
So I have this as the starting player. So you have the name that of your hero, their class symbol, which will come up, also on your class cards as well. which is important and might show up on equipment cards, things like that. So
Sure.
that's your class symbol. your weight, like we discussed, that has to do with the number of heroes that can be on one tile, or I'm sorry, the number of heroes or monsters or anything that can be on one tile is limited to basically their weight. So we'll go over that a little more later, but that's yours. Upper corner here is a unique way that you can gain path points. So I gain 2 path points, which are these things we'll get to in a second, anytime I deal 2 or more damage to multiple enemies in a single attack. And you guys all have other stuff. So Adam gets 2 anytime an enemy is killed by a trap. Tyson gets 1 whenever he heals himself or an ally, can only do it once per round. And you get 1 per round when a death magic ally deals damage. So that's kind of when you can summon zombies and stuff, and when they do damage, you get points for it. The little black slot here, we each have 1. Tyson has 2, are for gems that they can have equipped. We'll go over those a little bit later. In this red spot here is where you keep your path points. So each red token that you have is worth 1 path point, and each gold token that you have is worth 3 path points. Those are your kind of major currency. Your class points, well, we'll get to that in a second. These are your currency for like buying new cards and adding to your deck and stuff like that, are done with your path points. Then you have your movement value. The yellow number is your starting for each of these. So you have your movement, your base attack, and your health. And we need to track those. We should probably just grab some cubes or something to track those.
Are there specific ones?
Maybe we'll look in a second. A hero's, and you can't heal above your base health. A hero's specific class point value. Okay, so and then 10. These are where your class points go. Those are used more for like fueling your abilities. So you'll have cards that generate. Like this card here, here's a good example. Well, we'll get to the cards in a second. But like this card here generates 2 class points for me, and this one here costs 1 for me to use, kind of thing like that. So I use this card to generate points, or there are some other things. You know, there are other ways to generate points, but you generate these points and then you spend them to do your more powerful attacks. And then underneath you have spots for equipment. So for the cards, each card has, so we'll do my slash one here, has an initiative value. And actually, let's take one of these out. There we go. So we'll go with tough it out. We'll take this out of the deck. So 7. The green number up in the corner is its initiative value. So when we're fighting, we basically resolve these. Highest number goes first. So that
we fight each other?
No, this is a cooperative game. So we'd be fighting monsters and stuff like that. But so for example here, I have this Angel of Death card that has an 8 initiative and allows me to move up to 3 tiles. But all damage sustained before I move is doubled. So this is an 8. So if someone can attack me with a 10 or a 9, they'll go first, attack me, and deal double damage to me. But 8's pretty high, so if like, you know, one person played this, another person played this, and you're like, oh, I'm going to attack you with tough it out. Well, my 8 goes first, which lets me move, and I can just like, oh, I'm just going to run away before that happens. But if, you know, if for example this happened first, then I would be taking double damage and I would be in trouble. So the initiative is, you know, yeah. Tough it out's the name of the card. The 6 up there is how much path points that it costs to purchase. So this would cost 6 of these. I only have 5. I can't buy it right now. There's the symbol of the person. So this would be a warrior card. So I'm the only one that can use it. Some of the warrior cards, or some of the cards will have a requirement.
So are we buying those out of a market?
Yeah, we buy these out of a
build?
market.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually,
we can avoid.
What
It's
I
not like
should've
you're
done-
going to acquire my card.
Correct.
You just avoid it in the market.
Correct, and you can actually help me buy it too. We'll get to that in a second. So we'll flip these all out.
Got
like
it. That
this.
makes more sense.
Well, we'll flip those out, and then we'll find one specifically that does what I want it to, so I can show you guys.
Saw one of mine in there.
Yeah, but here we go. So,
Oh, that one.
yep, hey, the one that's in the example, perfect. So, some skills require a specific weapon to be equipped for you to be able to use them. So that's what that symbol is. So this one can only be used by a warrior that's holding a sword, and it's called Blade of Flame. So you have to have a sword to use it. If you don't, you can't use it.
And then this is where you're equipping things.
Right. So yeah, and you would have. Let me find a sword in here.
So you would have
somewhere,
had to purchase the sword earlier.
Right. I would have had to equip. So there's a bow. There's a sword. So I would have had to equip a sword earlier. And so you can see here that this goes in this slot. It corresponds to this slot.
Got it.
And you can use it, and you'd equip it there, and it can be used, or cannot be used at range. As that was. So I would have to have a sword equipped before I could use something like Blade of Flame.
And does that then replace the sword, or?
No, it's just I'm required, this is an action. So this sword would be something that's equipped to me all the time.
And then that.
And then this would be
comes
something
through
that I
his deck.
played, right,
Oh,
like out of
sure.
my hand. It's a move I can do if I
Sure,
have a sword
okay.
and I'm a warrior.
Okay.
So then the energy or class point cost for playing this card is right here. So this one would cost me -2 of my class energy to play. So I'd have to play something here like Tough It Out, which gives me +2. So I'd play this first. You know, this would resolve. And then I could do Blade of Flame using the 2 energy I got from this. And then then the effect of the card is underneath. So this is +3 to my attack for this turn. This one would do the same thing.
Say again what this yellow thing is.
That's the cost
Of your
so-
path points?
of my path points. And
So if
mine
it
are
costs
yellow.
-2, does it give you path points?
No. So this is -3. So this is what it costs to play.
So that one says +2. Does that give you?
That gives me that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'd have to play this to get plus points. So like
So you're getting
yours says
path
specifically
points
here
and
like -1.
attacking more.
Right. You have to figure out how to You have to figure out how to generate those points. There
Got
are
it.
different ways to generate those points, but that's what you have to. So that's the cost of playing this card. So I would do something like on my turn, like I said, play Angel of Death, and it would move up to 3 tiles during the resolution. So I'd move, my character 3 tiles, and then it would generate 2 energy. So I would just get 2 of these energy, and I'd put it there, and now I had 2 energy. And then on my next turn, I could play Slash, which would cost 1 of those energies.
Well, those are energy. That's a whole nother
I'd take that
currency
away, yes.
than path points.
Correct. Path points are these orange things, so
Just to
I'd have
buy.
to spend, So if I wanted to buy this card here, I would spend 4 of my path points to equip this, to buy this sword.
Interesting.
And then,
Feels
so
like a
this
fairly deep deck builder.
yeah, so this is like your energy, Any card may be used to, so this is a little kind of reminder down here that every card has in the gray that says any card can be used to do an attack of exactly 1, move 1 tile, generate 1 class point, or heal 1 at 0 initiative instead of the card's main action or function. So if like for whatever reason, if there's a creature that just has 1
kind of an
health
eject
left
button.
and you could, you just want to kill it, or you just, if you just don't, because you play 3 cards a turn, and if you just don't want to do one of your things, you can say, okay, instead of doing what I was supposed to do, I'll just gain, I'll generate 1 class point. So that's a way you can always generate class points, is discarding cards you're not using, or like holding actions, basically. So you can say, okay, I'm going to do Slash.
What are blue and green in this?
Blue, so 1 move is the foot, 1 attack is that, heal 1, blue's the class point. So that's probably,
What
we should
is a
probably,
class point?
that's this.
You get it. Oh.
Are we using, there's blue discs as well.
Class points? Yeah, I think the blue disc. So blue disc would be a class point.
Those go there.
Right. And then the blood represents health. And then the 0 is a reminder that it's at 0 initiative because it's a green.
So if you choose to do this
I can
kind of
choose to do that
bailout
instead of
action,
this.
it happens at a 0 initiative.
Correct. So if I decide to do this Blade of Flame, like I don't have a sword equipped and I drew this card. Instead of it just being totally dead, I can play it and gain 1 class point.
Or up any
Or
of these.
move 1.
Does it
No,
permanently
no, no.
move?
No. It's just an attack of 1. So it's just a
No,
regular.
he was talking
Oh,
about
it just
heal.
boosts
Right,
it for
right,
the
right.
moment. by
Right,
one.
or it lets you just
Oh,
move
okay.
1 more. So
Whatever
you're
your
allowed to
base
move,
stat is, it boosts it.
you're just allowed. No. So you're allowed to move 2 on your turn. You move 2, and then you say, "I'm going to use this card to move an additional square." So it's just this card moved me 1 space. That's all it does. It doesn't
Okay.
change your stats. It doesn't
So
do
instead
anything.
of it being a +3 attack, it's just
It's
+1 attack. And
It
then what's
move-
the heal?
No. It just moves you 1 space.
I know what the
It's not
attack you
plus
want.
attack. It attacks for exactly 1, which is
Okay.
different.
And then the blood is just heal 1,
This is heal 1,
which is up
yes.
1 on the track.
Which is restore 1, but not over your limit. So if I'm at 6, I cannot heal up to 7 because 6 is my max.
I assume there's ways to
Your max is
boost
5.
your max,
Yes,
right?
there's
And
ways
then
to
you can
boost-
heal up
correct,
to your max.
but you
Okay.
can't heal above.
Okay, got it.
And we might not even get to that though.
Okay.
Oh wait, a blue gem will increase your max health by 1.
And I assume certain cards that you equip could also do that, like a ring or a...
Are these things
Yeah,
over here the
possibly.
gems, or what are these?
Yes, those are the gems, and we'll get to
Okay.
those in a second. So deck building in Temple of Ukro'Kaah is a dungeon crawl with deck building features. This means that you will begin the game with only a few cards that highlight their most basic abilities. Each turn you'll draw up to 5 cards from your deck and play 3 of them. Play up to 3 of them during the action phase, and we'll get to that in a second. Cards played during the action phase are discarded into the discard pile at the end of that phase. If a player ever needs to draw from their deck and there are no more available cards, shuffle up,
Yeah.
usual stuff. Cards not played during the action phase remain in your hand and you draw back up to 5 during the cleanup phase. So you'll draw 5, play 3, unless something makes you play more or lets you play more, up to 3. So you don't have to play them all. So you can't
Okay.
just sit on them for a turn or 2 if you want.
Okay.
And then you'll keep 2 and then kind of draw back up to 5 at the end of your turn.
Okay.
Or at kind of the end of everybody's turn. In order for you to be the most effective in your game, you will require to purchase new cards that best work for your strategy. When purchasing a new card from the hero row, you must place it immediately in the discard pile, with the exception of equipment, and you will not have access to it till you shuffle again.
Sounds familiar.
Yep. You may not be advisable to purchase every card you can afford because it may be difficult to do the actions you want on your turn. Yep. 2 ways to build a deck. The first is discussed above. Purchase cards from the hero row. You can also deck build throughout the campaign, which we're not going to do, so we'll go ahead and skip over that. There are 2 types of currencies used in Path. These are path points and class points. All classes will use the same pool of tokens to represent their class points and another to represent their path. We kind of already went over that.
Okay.
While each class uses the same tokens, they will have separate ways their separate types of class points represented on their cards and hero boards, which is
Got it.
Adam has a spike collar, I got the red thingy, you got it. Path points are acquired during a scenario, usually by defeating enemies or from bonuses for successfully completing a scenario, and are used for multiple purposes that can happen both during and between scenarios. Some of the things your path points can be used for are purchase available cards and gems during the maintenance phase, add abilities and equipment to your deck by spending path points on the card in the hero row, so buy stuff from the hero row, and some equipment cards like this sword here, notice also has a black circle, which is a slot for a gem, so you can actually put a gem in your sword too, to kind of buff that equipment. So I can only have 1 now, but if I have this in the sword, now I can have 2 gems, 1 on my person and 1 on my sword.
Cool.
Use to permanently purchase a card to add to your deck for future scenarios. We're not going to do that. Use to learn a new class. We're not going to do that. Use to upgrade a hero's base stats such as damage, health, and movement.
What are these? Gems?
These are path points. And
Path points can upgrade your...
yeah, we'll see when we get there exactly how. A player at the starting... and you can increase your starting deck size, which we're not going to do. Class points are only acquired and used during a scenario. Each class has a unique type of point specific to their class. that allows them to use certain abilities shown on their cards. Class points are generated by playing a card that has a class point symbol with a positive value, such as the starter card Focus. Oh yeah, everybody has the card Focus, which does it. Gain 2 class points. So everybody has that.
These,
Huh?
okay, these things.
Yes. Which allows any class to use it to generate 2 class points of their choice. So when you have multiple classes, you have to make sure you have multiple, you know, it won't affect us, but in the future, if you're a warrior ranger,
You can have multiple classes
yes,
in another version.
yes. In other versions, you have multiple classes. So for us, you're always just going to generate your own. Okay, so for tile placement, the rules for tile placement are you're going to, the tiles have on the back the walls that they have, so you can see before you even flip this over that this is going to have walls on either side. So you can tell that from
So
the
that
back,
one
right?
doesn't have
Everybody
walls?
see that, right?
Sure.
Yep, so this one has
That
no
has
walls
walls
at all.
on both right and left.
Right.
Got it.
So, yeah, and so on and so forth. So, you'll put down the gray version of the room until it's C. Each tile, yeah. So generally you're going to place it face down with the gray side. If there are any, when you travel into one, it flips it over and it shows you how many enemies should be there. Now we're going to count the pips on this to make sure that we actually have it. So on this card, this guy has 4 pips and there are 4 players. So we would get this little goblin guy. And then this one has 4 pips, so we get a big goblin guy. But this one has 5 pips. That's more players than we have. He doesn't spawn. This one also doesn't spawn. So we'd only get 2. And if we only had 3 people, this would be an empty room. So,
That's cool. It's clever.
yeah. So when you, so we count the pips. There are also treasure tiles that have a treasure chest on them, like that. And when you, you'll draw 1 random card from the treasure deck. Not that one. The red one is the treasure deck? Yeah, okay, yep. So you'll just draw a red card from there, and you'll get a reward if you find. Yeah, you got it. During the place tile step, players may only place tiles next to a revealed room. Some rules apply to place a tile legally. Tiles must be attached to an already revealed room, does not block off the only entrance or only exit to another tile, and connects to at least one side of an already placed tile with a doorway or open space. So basically try and make the dungeon make sense.
Make it work, yeah.
Don't create dead ends, don't, you know, whatever.
And you have to place it.
Yeah,
you
like
said.
don't put it in a place, you know, that doesn't have a door to it.
So also, it seems like you said I can't, like, I can place in any of these spots, but I can't place here?
Correct. Because that one hasn't
Been
revealed.
explored yet.
Oh,
You
okay.
can't
Okay.
place on the
You don't know it's
only
there.
touching an unveiled.
Right.
So say, put that one back where it was.
So the-
Say there wasn't a wall on the right. Could you place it over this tile? Since
Oh,
it's
yeah.
touching
So
a
say
hidden one?
this one's
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
right?
Could you put another one
Could you
right here?
now
that made
reveal
sense?
this one?
Yes, because it's adjacent to a.
As long as you're
One that's
touching a
revealed,
revealed
yes.
one.
Okay.
But it has to make sense too. So,
So you can't be touching
And that would be fine.
only one that's not revealed.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
that did
because
say-
that wasn't the only exit out
Only
of that room
yeah.
that they were walling off,
Yeah.
so that was fine. If that was for somehow, you know, doing that. If the above conditions are not met, then a tile cannot be placed that turn. Some tiles will have walls or entryways that may require you to orient the tile in a specific way to avoid blocking off an entrance. You may rotate the tiles however you like. But you do need, and it just says you don't need to peek at the color side to do that. Tiles may also be placed during the action phase. This is known as exploring. Exploring is when a hero enters a space where a tile has yet to be placed. So if you move, you know, 3 spaces or whatever, or you can even just go like, you know, we might just place a tile there to start off with. And you might decide, oh, I'm just going to walk off this way where there is no tile. That would be exploring.
That makes you reveal a tile.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And so what that would do is Enters a place where a tile is yet to be placed. If you choose to explore an area, they must first have to have the movement required to get to that area. Then they explore the tile by drawing it and placing it face up, showing the color side. When an area is explored, the player exploring must put their hero in that room immediately and draw an event card. And those are these. As well as resolve any treasure or enemy spawns represented on the explored tile. Every hero and enemy have a weight, which we discussed earlier, which determines whether or not that hero or enemy are able to fit in a tile. Each tile has a weight capacity of 5, meaning that the total of enemies, heroes, or summon allies like your Hydra or your
Oh,
Skelly.
this is my guy?
Yes.
Oh.
That's, remember you have a summon,
Yeah.
I forget his name, card? Yeah. Guazami?
Guazami.
Or something like
Guzami?
that. Yeah, so that's what
Guzi.
happens to represent that.
Guzmai.
Sure.
Guzmai. Yeah.
Pronunciations seem like
Every
they're going to be
hero,
an issue in
right.
this game.
Yeah, well, you try it.
Guaz.
If the enemy is supposed to spawn on a
Guazmi,
tile that's
Guazmi,
full,
Guazmi?
it will
Guazmi,
instead spawn in the nearest adjacent room with an unobstructed path to the hero.
Plasma, yeah.
If there are no adjacent rooms that it can fit, then it spawned in the nearest room that supports an enemy. If there is a question where is an enemy to be placed, you will try to first place it on a tile with a hero if possible. If there are multiple tiles with heroes, then you will place the enemy on the nearest available tile space to the player with the start token. So basically it's kind of who's ever the starting player, whoever has the timer. If there's a tiebreaker, the monster always goes to who's ever closest to that. So if it's between Colin and Tyson, and I have the phone, then Tyson would, it would get set next to him. Enemies can spawn on tiles that have not been revealed yet if the tile capacity causes them to spawn on an adjacent tile or an event places them there. So basically, basically they're going to spawn on top of you or as close as they can with the direct route. If a hero would like to move into a tile that is currently at capacity, they may force an enemy out by pushing them into another room. When you push an enemy, you sustain damage equal to the weight of the enemy you pushed out. When an enemy is pushed out, place it on the tile you move. Place it on the tile you pushed it into. If it would exceed the limit of the tile you're moving them into, you may push them into an adjacent tile that is not at capacity. If there no such room exists, you may not force an enemy out of a room. Make sense?
How do you push? I don't.
You just
Doesn't
say
make
you're going to
sense.
do that, and you take damage equal to their size.
So you can just
Yeah.
push whenever,
Yeah,
as long as
you
you're
just
willing
move
to
in
take the
there.
hit.
Yeah, if that room's full, I'm moving in, I'm pushing out that little guy for 1 damage and shoving him into the room behind it,
If you can.
if you can. But if the only other room I could shove him into is full, then I can't shove anybody anywhere and have to figure out how to kill him without going in the room. Or whatever, or wait for him to come get me. So, for our turns, and we have the turn order here, each of us will get an individual maintenance phase where we just kind of get to chill, more or less, and not there's no timer. So remember, we have a timer in this game.
Equip, purchase, sell.
So yeah, for
Put out
for
your
the
tile.
maintenance phase, you can equip and replace new equipment or gems. Well, each hero will first take a maintenance phase. Once every hero has completed their maintenance phase, all heroes will enter the action phase and perform actions simultaneously. The resolution phase will resolve in order of initiative, and the cleanup phase is observed. So in the maintenance phase, we're allowed to equip/replace new equipment or gems. Players that drew equipment cards may now equip them if they choose. Unslotted gems may be slotted or used to replace currently slotted gems. You can purchase available cards or gems. You may purchase any cards available in the hero row if you have the path points. If a card does not have a path point value, you may take the card for free. Any equipment purchased during this phase may be immediately equipped. Cards will not immediately be replaced in the hero row. You may only purchase cards that were available at the start of your phase. At the end of each hero's phase, they will replace any cards purchased during their maintenance phase up to 4. Gems may be purchased for 3 path points during the maintenance phase and may be immediately slotted into the hero board or equipment with available slots.
Does a gem come out in the market?
No, gems are just available.
You just buy
There's
them.
just a pile of them, and you can buy them.
Oh.
There's this cheat card here that says what they do real quickly. You can read them. You know, I'm not reading them out loud.
There's a lot.
Yep, there's a bunch of them. We can read them as the game goes out, and if you have questions on them, but they're all
By
pretty
any
straightforward.
point at the same time, you can buy from the market.
Correct.
Okay.
And then you're allowed to sell gems or cards in hand for 1 path point each. So that's how you cull cards you don't want from your deck, is by selling them.
And you sell them in the maintenance.
Right. A player may sell any card they have in hand and place it below the hero row in a separate row. Cards sold this way cannot be reserved during the cleanup phase. Any card or gem sold by a player is worth 1 path point regardless of the original value. The other players may purchase cards that another player sold earlier in the turn order. You only have 5 cards in your deck. If you only have 5 cards in your deck.
Any of you can buy a card that I just sold.
Right, so I go first. If I sell all 5 of my cards, you guys are allowed to
Buy them for
buy
their
them
marked
up
value,
from the market,
whatever
which
their value
they would
is.
all be free because they're all just the starter cards.
Oh, you can buy them.
Except I have that one that I stuck in my deck that I shouldn't.
Thief.
So you could get them for free, but I could still sell them for 1. But even this guy, if I bought him for 6, and then I'd sell them for 1
Yeah.
too. So
And
you
then we
always
buy
sell
'em
for
for
1,
6.
right? And then you could, or you could, you know, pick these up for free if you wanted those. But you cannot sell. You have to have at least 5 cards in your deck. So if I were to, like I said, sell all 5 of my first cards that I drew, then I'd have 5 cards left in my deck, and I would be, you know,
That's your deck.
That would be my deck. I would just have these same 5 cards over and over again until I bought some more cards, and then I could choose, you know, some other stuff. Player may sell any card they have in hand. We already did that. Place tile if possible. So draw and place 1 tile face down in any legal placement.
If not, you just don't place the tile.
Correct. And then replace any purchase cards in the hero
Does
row
that
for
tile
next
go to
person.
the bottom? Because the next person couldn't place the tile either. If it's an illegal placement issue, the next guy just wouldn't be
that's
able
a
to
good
place
point.
the tile either.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Do you
that's. I
cycle
think
it to the
that's.
bottom or what?
No, I think that might be. Well, let me see. We'll double check.
Like if it doesn't
Tile
fulfill any of the
placement.
conditions.
Let me see.
If we're gonna get there, I can wait.
If
but-
the above conditions are not met, then a tile cannot be placed that turn. It does not say anything about getting rid of the tile. So, but that.
But they're
could
all
just
hidden,
be-
right?
Right, but we can also just.
If we run into that, we'll figure it out. I
Well,
guess.
yeah, and we could probably just explore more to open up more areas to put new tiles in, kind of thing like that.
But if they're all illegal placements because they don't, like if the one you have has walls and it doesn't, maybe we won't.
Well, you
run into
can.
that.
Right. We'll. if
We'll
we get
cross
there,
that
we
bridge
get
when
there,
we get there.
Okay, so that was the, okay, then the action phase. So everything done during the action phase, first of all, are done like simultaneously. So we're all going to take our turns at the same time,
That
basically.
reminds me of
And
that
we all
coffee
have
game
to
we played.
take them before the timer, like before the timer goes off. We have to complete our actions. If we haven't finished our turn, like if we haven't done everything that we're going to do by the time that we're done, and like stop the timer in time, essentially, then there's a penalty, more or less. And we're so we'll start the timer. No strategy for what players are going to do during their action phase can be discussed until the timer starts. So we can't plot out our hands and everybody just show everybody what we
'cause it's
have
co-op.
and decide what we're doing. Yeah, so we all have to make our actions at the same time,
That makes sense.
more or
Okay.
less. And so we basically have from when the timer starts to, you know, to discuss what we want to do. Like if, you know, I want Tyson to heal me, I have to wait until after we start and say, hey, Tyson, I want some healing, kind of thing like that, and just hope he was kind of planning on it or hope that works with what he's doing, kind of thing like that. And so basically then we're all just going to like slap down our cards, and we'll actually get this up. So you'll start the timer, you'll move. You can move your hero up to their current movement value. You can explore the area, which means if you move into somewhere, so I can move 1, and if we're starting like this, I can just go 1 like that and explore a new area with my 1 movement. If I do that, then I draw and place a tile and draw an event card for the explored area. Any traps triggered must be resolved, and enemies spawned will take a turn during the next resolution phase. So basically, you know, you just explore that room, and then you get to play up to 3 cards, and then you draw and resolve an event card after all actions are complete if timer reaches 0. So if the timer reaches 0, we have to draw an event card, and like something bad happens in the, you know, something bad happens in the.
So we all just say done, and then we stop it before it
Right.
actually goes off.
Right. And you play your cards. So what you do is you'd like I said, you just kind of play your cards like that. So I'm going to go ahead and, you know, heal, or like evade, heal, punch, or evade, punch, heal, because you know things are going to happen in order. And so we slap all those things down, and if I'm in a room with a monster, I'll evade and hopefully dodge that monster's first attack, and then I'll punch and deal 1 damage, may not be combined with equipment, so it's a punch, and then deal heal self or ally, you know, for 2 health. And those things will happen by their initiative order. So we all kind of just have to, all right, I'm going to move and do this, and then the enemies will, and then we'll resolve. So then we draw 1 card from the enemy action deck, and that would be like this. Or no, wait, those are the enemies themselves. I think the enemy action deck is here.
Oh, it's got some AI.
Yeah. And then we'll so draw 1 card from the enemy action deck anytime at least 1 enemy is in play. If there are no enemies in play, no need to draw from the enemy action deck. Pretty sure that's the red. Hold on, I gotta check the component guide real quick. Pretty sure that's the enemy action deck. It's red. No, orange sleeve cards. Yep, are the enemy action deck. Oh yeah, okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm a little backwards here. Okay. And we'll actually get to combat in a second here. We'll get to combat in a little bit of detail, so I'm actually just kind of breeze through it now. So resolution phase, essentially, we're going to draw, see if you're engaged with an enemy, meaning you're either in range of doing an attack with them, either if you're an archer and you're 2 squares away, or if you're like a warrior and in the same square, whatever. You'll check to see if you're engaged, and then you check initiative and kind of resolve things in initiative order. So who's got a 10, who's got a 9, who's got an 8, and things just happen like that. Then you will resolve all the actions that need to be resolved. And then we'll move into a cleanup phase. The starting player will pass to the next person in clockwise order. This will be done before enemies move, because like we said before, enemies move towards people, and tiebreakers are who has the phone, so the phone moves before enemies do. Then all enemies move. You can reserve cards, and then discard all available cards into the hero row and replace the discarded cards. All players draw a back up to 5. If a player has more than 5, they must discard down to 5. Players may exceed 5 cards at other times in the round, but must be down to 5 at the end of the cleanup phase. If there are fewer enemies than heroes/allies on the map, draw an event card, and those are these red cards. Those are these cards. So reserving cards. During the cleanup phase, a player may choose to reserve a card in the hero row before it's discarded. Any hero may place a minimum of 1 path point on a card to be discarded to reserve it and prevent the card from being discarded. So like if Tough It Out comes out, and this is like, oh, that's a really good one for me, but I don't have 6 yet. You guys, anybody actually can help me out by saying, well, we don't want this one to get shuffled. You know, we don't want to get this one discarded. We want Ryan to have this one. So, you know, Tyson can say, okay, I'm going to spend 1 to hold this, and Colin.
That's 3. You just made
Oh,
me
yeah,
spend
it's
3.
Yeah,
Jeez.
sorry. The red. So Tyson will be like, hey, I'll spend 1 to hold this, and then great, then we'll shuffle all these back in, and then next time that we come around, this is reduced by the gems that are on there. So now I can spend all 5 of mine to make 6 and purchase this now. So not only can you guys, so basically,
All 5, you're 1 off, right?
No, he
I
got
have
5, right?
3, 4, 5, and then Tyson put 1 on there.
Which reduces 7 to 6.
7's the initiative, 6 is the cost.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry.
it
You have
reduces
the
6 to 5.
gold in the corner.
And then
Okay.
I can purchase it. So in this way we can help each other buy the powerful cards that we need to buy,
Got it.
you know, and we can pool our money, and it just kind of
And the
takes an
market
extra
turns
turn.
over every turn.
Right. the
Every
market-
4, I guess.
at the end of, so we all get a chance to buy, and then there's an action phase, and then anything that's left over gets cleaned up. So so we basically do the first phase individually, and then the second and third phases kind of everybody does them at once together.
Okay.
You will be able to make your hero better by giving them the right equipment, and equipment you purchase during the maintenance phase. We won't have it in the deck because we're not, that's for multiple scenarios. So equipment can be purchased during the maintenance phase or around. It can only be equipped during the maintenance phase, meaning that you may at times have equipment in your deck or hand. There are several different types of equipment you can have. Weapon, these are swords, staves, axes, other things that are used to increase your attack value. Some classes can only use certain abilities with specific weapons. We discussed that with Blade of Flame. Armor, these are in the form of robes, shields, boots, or other such things that increase your defense or movement. Accessories, rings, amulets, or bracers that have a variety of uses. And items are potions, food, powders, or other such things that have a variety of uses. So did you follow that along
Yeah.
the bottom of your, there you go. Some equipment and each hero board have empty slots which can be used for modifying with gems. Gems are powerful stones of concentrated magic that have different properties when slotted into equipment. To slot a gem into a piece of equipment, it costs 3 path points during the maintenance phase. A hero can only have 2 gems of a single color slotted into their equipment or hero board at any given time. So you can't have 3 green gems. You can have 2 red gems and a green gem. You can't have 3 red, whatever, you got it. The color of the gem determines how it affects the piece of equipment. They're listed out there. We can go over them more in the game. A player may replace a slotted gem with a different gem they own using their maintenance phase. Heroes may find themselves at time with gems they are unable to be slotted, but they can only have 2 unslotted gems in hand at a given time. So you can have however many your capacity is, and then 2 that aren't doing anything, they're just dead, and you're just kind of holding on to them. But you can swap them out if you want different effects for your next turn. If for some reason you get up to 3 or 4, you have to discard down to 2 immediately. Path Temple of Ukro'Kaah uses a timer to stimulate real-time play. During each action phase, the timer will be started and stopped by the player with the start token. It will be up to the player with the token to determine when everybody is finished with the action phase. If the timer is stopped by the player with the start token, then no additional cards may be played and no other actions can be taken. The purpose of the timer is to help create tension and quick decision-making by all players. Because of this, discussing any strategy of how the action phase is going to resolve before the timer has been started is forbidden. Players may, of course, take their time on their own to try and figure out what they're going to do on their turn, but can't reveal their plans to other players until the timer has begun. It is the responsibility of this player with the start token to determine if people are taking too long to plan, and like with stopping, it is at that player's discretion. Once the timer reaches 0, players may complete their actions, but then must draw an event card. Event cards that are triggered by the timer reaching 0 must be resolved after all players have decided their actions. Heroes may have to resolve event cards at certain times during the game by drawing event cards. They act as a countdown to the end of the scenario. If at any time an event must be resolved and the event deck can no longer be drawn from, the scenario ends and players must proceed to the end condition of that scenario. The amount of cards in the event deck may vary from scenario to scenario. Some of the event cards may be triggered, could be through exploring, having too few enemies, or if the timer reaches 0 during the action phase, or if the scenario specifies. When the timer reaches 0 during the action phase, the player with the start token must draw a card from the deck once everyone has resolved their actions. If an event is drawn because of the timer reaching 0, players may finish playing their cards or moving, but they may not read the event until everybody's done. If an event is required to be drawn at any other time, it is resolved at the end of the phase in which it was triggered. On the back of the event cards, you'll see symbols. You'll see Uwakun Mask, and unique tribe symbol. These tribe symbols require the tribe symbols represented on each dungeon tile. When each event is triggered, it will affect the tiles corresponding these tribe symbols. While players will not know what kind of events will resolve, they might you have a guess at what might happen. So basically, right here, you have, this tile is going to affect, or like these event cards are going to affect these tiles. If enemies are to spawn because of player exploring tiles, then same conditions are applied. For engagement, in order to determine if combat occurs, you have to, like I said, see if they occupy the same tile or if range attacks can affect one another. And range effects are subject to line of sight, so if there's a wall blocking, you're not in range. And it's to determine line of sight, imagine an invisible line going from the center of the tile to the targeted tile, to the center of the targeted tile. So here, you couldn't shoot there to there because there's a wall blocking it, but you could shoot here to here because there's no wall. An enemy will only engage with one hero and will use the following methods. We'll figure out that later, determine when. So each hero card has an initiative value, which we've discussed. Each enemy action card also has initiative values as well as actions that correspond with the color of the enemy. So we have the different enemy colors. So like this, for example, would be a blue enemy. So when we flip this over, blue enemies this turn are going to heal on 3 initiative. So initiative is determined from highest value to lowest value, and the maximum initiative a card can have is 10. Certain equipment.
So that's based on what your initiative is what they're doing?
No. So like here, it's compared against yours. So
Right.
like if I decide to evade, focus, heal, evade's happening on 5, focus and heal are happening on 2. And so
Since it's a blue monster.
depending on what's going on here. So like heal is happening on 3 for monsters here. So that would happen. I would evade, then the monster would heal, then I would focus and heal. Essentially, is what would happen.
Got it.
So the monsters are going to do, or so if I flip this one over, then on this one, the monster would do a special 2 on 3. And if you look, so each of the monsters have this thing. So like
very intricate.
the pygmy, like this is this character and how it attacks, and this is this character and how it attacks. So we would just read, okay, this, blue, this one, so we match the color. So this is a blue, it's doing its special 2, so we'd look special 2, decoy, force one hero or ally in range to switch tiles with the nearest pygmy Ukro'Kaah. This, that is on a different tile than the target. So that's what that special action would do, but like I evaded here, and my evade was on 5, which happened before their special on 3. But if it was a purple, their special attack would have happened on 6, which would have happened before me. So it's one of those things like, I evade on 5, is my evasion fast enough? Well, it depends on, how quickly they attack or what they're doing. But then there's also this one that's healing on 7, so like, oh, well, that wasn't an attack, no big deal. So that goes like back to my my card I played earlier that has 8 initiative, but I take double damage if I'm hit before I do that move.
Yeah.
So now, on this card, the highest initiative is 7, so I'd be totally safe. But on this one, there's a 9 special attack at 1. I'm in, if I'm fighting a green monster, I could take double damage from their special attack, and that could be a real problem. So the initiative is something that you gotta, kind of keep in mind, but you don't know really what the baddies are doing until you flip over this card. Combat is resolved during the resolution phase. Whenever a hero and enemy are engaged, draw a single card from the enemy action deck for all enemies. Enemy action deck is shared by all enemies. So yeah, I
So
already
each
showed
has
you
to
on the
explain.
card, and yeah, they all have their attack values and their movement values and everything like that. They can attack, defend, heal, special 1 or special 2. And they're all spelled out. Armor, if a hero or enemy has armor tokens, which are these, and are damaged by an attack, you discard an armor token instead of taking a damage.
Sure.
If a hero should be defeated by an enemy during the resolution phase, that hero may no longer do any more actions. Any cards that were played during the action phase that are not resolved will not resolve and are immediately placed in the discard pile. So if you're healing on 2 and they attack you on 3 and kill you on 3, that heal on 2 doesn't happen. You're dead. But they're placed. Hold on. Any cards. A hero had any equipment equipped, they are placed in the discard pile. All gems are removed from the equipment, and any amount of gems exceeding 2 must be discarded. When a hero is defeated in combat, they are considered expired and cannot participate in subsequent phases of the game unless they are revived. Any expired hero keeps all of their path and class points, but does not gain any until they are revived. To revive a hero, an ally must use a heal ability with a value of at least 2 while within range of the expired hero. When reviving a hero, the revived hero heals up to the value -1. So if you use a basic heal on someone that's dead, then they will heal 1
And what's range for
up to
that?
1. I believe it says.
I think I've got some.
Yeah, I think for us, yeah, for our basic heal, it's touch. Tyson is a healer, so he can do it at range 2. So, expired heroes do not count towards tile weight capacity. However, you cannot be revived if reviving them would exceed the weight
And
limit
if you
of the
expire, you lose all your equipped stuff. You
Yeah.
lose all your gems except for 2
tile. Except for the 2
unequipped.
that you can hold on
Can
to.
you keep this 1 and 2 unequipped? So for 3? It didn't specify.
All gems are removed from equipment. No,
Because
it seems like
it's
you
from
keep that one.
equipment.
Yes, it seems
So
like
you can keep that
one.
plus the 2 unequipped.
Correct.
Hmm.
And you can
Can you
remove the
remove
gem-
them from the
yes,
equipment
yes.
and
So if
hold
you
them
have
in your
2,
bank
yes,
and then okay, got
yes. So if you have 1 here and then 2 in your swords and you die, you know, then you can
Trash the swords,
Right.
keep the gems.
Exactly.
Got it.
If an enemy is not defeated by an attack, it will sustain damage, and we'll track it on that chart over there. For enemy movement, at the end of each round, enemies will get a chance to move. During the movement phase, you will move the enemy in the topmost left tile. So basically, you know, left to right, top to bottom, start moving them in that order. You'll move them as many spaces and indicated on their movement space card. And if there's a tile with most of it, multiple enemies, the heaviest enemy with the most health will move first. To move an enemy, you check the enemy's movement on their card. Move the enemy as close as possible towards the nearest hero. If 2 heroes are equally close, it goes to the one with the start token. If the tile capacity is reached and no other characters can fit on it, they will attempt to find a different target that they can get equally close to. An enemy will not move closer to a hero in a direction that has an obstructed path. And they will move through unrevealed tiles but not reveal them. Certain cards will allow you to summon allies. Colin can summon skeletons, Adam can summon hydras. They have health, essentially, based on the little gray boxes on their cards. So this hydra has 3 health right there, and you can mark their damage
I have
Okay.
2.
on it. And you have 2, you can summon 2 skeletons that each have 2 health. So you have 2 rows that you can track. Does that make sense? So those are summon allies, will be summoned on the same tile, and cannot be summoned if it is at capacity. Summon allies act similarly to enemies, but have a few differences. Each summon ally card will have the same stats as an enemy card, which represents their weight, how they will move, attack, and how much health they have. When a hero summons an ally, they will place the card above their board, and it will remain there until they lose all of their health. A summon ally will always have the same initiative during the action phase represented on the card. So this one's always 3, skeleton's always whatever skeletons are. Summon allies will move following the same guidelines as enemies and will move during enemy movement step of cleanup with one major distinction. Allies that move into an unrevealed tile will reveal the tile. Any treasure tiles revealed by a summoned ally will not allow the player to draw a treasure card. If there are no enemies for a summoned ally to move towards, the summoned ally will attempt to move towards the hero that summoned them during the movement step of the cleanup phase. If there are multiple enemies, they will attack the one they can kill or do the most damage to. If there is a tie, they will attempt to attack the one with lower initiative. If there's still a tie, the summoning player gets to pick. For purpose of targeting, an enemy will always attack or move towards a summoned ally before it attacks or move towards a hero that summoned that ally if they are on the same tile or equal distance. If there are multiple summoned allies, the enemies will attack the weakest first. Alright, you are now ready to enter the Temple of Ukro'Kaah. You may reference the scenario rulebook to start our first scenario. So, any questions about just in general before we get to the first scenario?
I don't think in general, could we just summarize real quick the high points?
Yeah.
Isn't that what that is?
So yeah, it's the maintenance phase. So during the
Right, I
maintenance
just wanna
phase,
make
you
sure.
can equip new stuff, purchase new stuff, sell your cards for gems, and then place
In that
a tile.
order, or can
In
you
that
do it
order.
all whenever?
In that order.
Okay.
Action phase. The action phase, we start the timer, we move, you
And
play up
hold
to
on,
3
are we
cards.
doing everyone's
Everyone does the action
maintenance
phase. Maintenance phases
one at
are
a
done
time?
one at a time in turn order.
And so we go through 4 of those.
Correct.
So we're placing 4 brand new tiles.
Mhm.
And then we all jump into the action phase together.
Mhm.
And we start a timer. How long does the timer go for?
I don't know. I'm
Oh.
hoping it's in the scenario book.
Got it. And then we move and play cards. Our movement is marked on here.
Yep.
And we can move in any directions we want.
Yep.
There's like a big thing in the middle. Is that one tile, or can we
Those
move
are
into
2
there
tiles.
or not?
These are 2 tiles.
No. On each tile, there's a big square. There's
This
little
is
squares.
one tile.
That's one square. Okay, and we can move through it. Got it.
If it's one tile, you can move tiles. There's no such thing as
Oh,
squares.
you don't
in this
move those
game.
little spaces.
No such thing as squares in this game. This is one tile, one tile, one tile.
Got it,
If you can
okay.
move 2 tiles, 1,
Thank
2.
you. Got it. And so we all move at the same time, and we all play our up to 3 of 5 cards.
Correct.
Resolution phase, and then I assume we all say done and stop the timer, because if it runs down to 0, we have to draw an event card.
Correct.
And we probably don't want to do that. And then after we all go together, the resolution phase, I assume, reseparates into 1 at a time.
Correct. We draw an enemy. Well, no, they resolve initiative, basically.
Yes, you play everything and then the initiative happens.
So if
Like,
if I play
top to bottom,
right. So if
basically.
I
So
play
we
a card
find
of
the highest
8
card amongst the 4 of us.
Yeah.
and the enemies, and that happens
Yeah.
first. So we flip this over. 9 would be the first for green enemies. Do we have any green enemies going on 9? No, we don't. Okay, now
Got it.
Ryan goes on 8, and then
So
Adam
in
goes on
resolution,
3
we
or
just
whatever.
go down the numbers
Correct.
and do everything we do.
Correct.
Draw enemy action card.
That's that one we just did.
Determination of resolve cards. And then we all go into cleanup phase.
Correct. So we pass the
Yes, sir.
start token. Enemies move. You can reserve
And
cards.
I was not tracking with that. How did the enemies move?
They just move towards the closest person. They attack the nearest player. They move towards the nearest player they can in the
And
most
then-
direct manner they can.
If we have summoned, it will move towards.
Towards the nearest enemy that they can in the most direct manner that they can. Towards
Okay.
the weakest enemy that they can.
Weakest,
Closest weakest enemy that
Got
they
it.
can get to.
including summoned. Included summoned people.
Correct.
Okay. Reserve cards. What is that?
That's the where.
That's where you put your thing
Oh,
on here so
oh,
it
to
doesn't
freeze
get wiped
it so
during,
it doesn't- yeah.
right, and
Refresh
makes it cheaper for
your
the next round.
All heroes drop to 5 cards.
And then if there are a few enemies, so if there's, 4 of us on the board and no enemies, we draw an event card. So that's basically,
Got
if
it.
there's no action, we draw some action.
Got it.
Good?
Cool.
And then back
Yeah,
to the
all
top,
that made
maintenance
sense to me.
phase. Everyone good?
I think
Everyone
so.
good?
Yeah.
All right, those are the rules, and we'll see you in the first scenario.